And that is us live for another one. Welcome back, everyone, to another MMA UK Late Show. My name is Lewis Smith. As always, bringing you the top MMA UK news from Wales and the UK. So, yeah, tonight we're going to be doing more of that. We've got one of our favourite fighters, Jack Tank Shaw, a guy we followed quite closely in his career so far. Jack, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Lou. Good to be back on the old live. Must be a fight coming up to be back on you.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, it's been a minute since we talked, buddy, isn't it?
It does, yeah.
Well, have you been anyway? Obviously, it's been a good while since we saw you fight last. Obviously, out on Fight Island back last year, you were a good win out of there last time. What's it been like for you? I know you had a bit of difficulty getting out there last time, didn't you, for the last book one?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was I see a lot of people saying visa issues, and it wasn't a visa issue as such. It was. I was due to fight on the 7th of November. I went up to the embassy to meet my visa appointment. And then when me and Ian Dean got there, the embassy was closed. I don't know, it must have been an emergency or whatever. Something that happened and the embassy had closed. So the next earliest appointment I could get then to get my visa was the day that I was meant to fly out for the fight. So obviously that got the fight pushed back to the 21st then, which meant that Khalid Taha was due to fight. I think they'd had something like 4 dropouts for that card, so they needed to keep him on the card and fill the spots up. So it was going to be a different opponent. I had a couple of names thrown in the hat. You know what we are like. It was a matter of just get us someone. And I think it was 8 days, maybe 8 days out, 9 days out. And still no opponent. So the coaches, my old man and Carl and myself, we sat down and was like, look, sparring's done now. We're not going to fly out there without an opponent booked in because, we don't want to get out there and then they still can't find this opponent. We've travelled out there for no reason. It's not a cheap trip to get your corner and stuff like that out there as well. So we just decided, look, they sort of said to us, look, we're struggling at the minute to get someone on short notice. So it was just one of them. It was not I wanted to end the year. But like you said, what can you do? There's no point crying over spilt milk. I didn't get too sort of wound up about it because what could I do? There was nothing I could do. I was in shape, ready to fight. My visa, my medicals. I even had my case packed, but I had everything sorted except an opponent. So fingers crossed. This time it'll be a little bit different.
Yeah, I think it's really insightful for people, obviously outside of the bubble that you guys are in the UFC, to see how complicated it all is to make a fight happen and the things the hoops you got to jump through basically to make these things go ahead. And like you said, one thing goes wrong and an embassy shut or a flight gets delayed, and the whole thing can really be put on hold, really, can't it?
Yeah, 100%. It just seemed to be like constant bad luck. It was it was like the embassy was closed and it was like, right, we may not be able to get you another appointment. And then they got me an appointment, but it meant the fight had to be moved back. Then it was like, right, we've got you on this card, but you're not fighting the same guy. And then they give me one name that we accepted. Then he couldn't do it. And they give me another. It was like Fight Island all over again. They were throwing these names at me. We were saying, yeah, but the contract didn't seem to be coming in the old email. So it was one of them. It was a stressful week or so, to be honest, Lou. But I'm over it now. I've got my visa, obviously, so hopefully we won't have no complications in that sense this time round.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, on to the next one, on to bigger and better things. And obviously, you've got an opponent now, Hunter Azure, a guy. He's 9-1. What do you make of your opponent for this coming up fight, Tank?
Yeah, it sounds cliche, doesn't it? But obviously, without a doubt, the toughest opponent to date. He's got a really good wrestling pedigree. I think he was Division 1 or maybe something like that. Very, very I wouldn't say like a very good striker, but punches really hard. He's had a couple of knockouts. Yeah. You watch his fights, he throws 100% power into every single shot. So he's a real tough guy. But stylistically, I think we match up well. So it's got all the makings of an entertaining fight, and it'll be a nice one, I think, for me to showcase myself to. Obviously, my loyal fans, but obviously I'm in front of the American crowd as well. Now it's on ABC, and it's obviously out in Las Vegas, so it'll be nice to showcase some Welsh wrestling out there against an hometown boy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Hunter, he's like you said, he's got all the sort of qualifications under his belt, doesn't he? He moves really good as well. That's something I noticed watching some of his fights. He has a really nice way of movement. he's also got a lot of decision victories on his record. Is that something you think he look to maybe try and take you into deeper water and make you sweat a little bit, or is this something that you don't think? Well, you just go for the finish as usual.
I think so. I don't think. I mean, it's a fight, so anything could happen. But I know he was doing very well against Brian Keller, and then obviously got a little bit over aggressive and ended up getting clipped. And then you've seen in his last fight, he was a little bit more reserved, sort of lent on his wrestling a little bit more. But again, he wasn't sort of facing a guy of my sort of wrestling caliber. I know I haven't got the accolades in the sense of, your Division 1s and your Olympic and Commonwealth and stuff like that. But people know I can wrestle. Then you got to watch my tape to see I can wrestle with some of the best in the division. So wherever he comes out and tries to grind me, I'm not sure if he'll go down that route. But I do expect him to knock him out like a bull out the gate. But I'm everyone knows that I lean a lot on my cardio is one of my biggest strengths. I could do 5-5s no problem. So a 3-round fight is never going to be an issue for me. So if he does want to come out and try and drag me deep, we'll see who's the better swimmer.
Good answer, mate. What's the timeout been like for you as well, Jack? Obviously, I know you never want to sort of miss a beat in training. You're constantly going. You go to the gym, right on your doorstep, basically. Has been time well spent for you, not sort of having a fight coming up in the last couple of months? Yeah,
it's I like you said, I'm never out to the gym, but I think if anything, the sort of the long layoff between the fights is sort of reignited. Not I have a lack of motivation, but it's just lit a fire under me where I've got in my head now this year that look, once this fight is over, it's a couple of days off, couple of days of eating the rubbish food, and then it's back in the gym. I want to turn over 3-4 fights nice and fast this year. Last year was stop-start really with one fight, and I don't want a similar year. So as long as I'm fit and injury-free, then I want to be turning over fights fast this year. And that's definitely something that the long layoff of sort of taught me is, if you're fit and ready to go, there's no reason why you can't be in there every 8 to 10 weeks. So again, I haven't wasted no time in the gym. I've still been sharpening my tools, getting a little bit better. But this year now it's time to get the ball rolling and sort of put that into practice. And, all these new skills I've been learning the last 12 months, it's time to put them on show. Yeah.
And first time out in Vegas as well for you fighting, isn't it? It's something you're looking forward to, a bit of a bucket list tick there?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it'd be a lot better if it was in the T-Mobile and a couple of the boys could come over and watch. But again, fighting in Vegas is a fight in Vegas. And the way it's looking, a lot of the fights are going to be out there this year. So fingers crossed, it's the first trip of many. But hopefully, like I said, next time I can take a few supporters over with me, obviously, providing the bank balance will allow them. It's not a cheap trip, I know.
Yeah. It's going to be on the Till and Vettori card, this is as well, isn't it? So a big card, obviously, with another British guy topping it. Is that something you like the sound of being on that card, or is it something that you have any say in at all? Do they sort of give you a couple of options of which cards are coming up, or do they say you're on this one?
There was no real, there was no sort of what date do you want. I spoke to Graham straight after Christmas because I had COVID for a week. So the initial plan was to fight, sort of early March, but I was pretty ill with COVID and it sort of knocked me back 2 weeks. So I spoke to Graham and said, look, I know Till has been rumoured to fight on the 10th of April. I said that'd be a good card or sort of anything end of March onwards. And they just came back to me then with, do you want to fight Hunter on this date? So we snapped that one up. It's a good card as well. Like Arnold Allen's fighting.
Yeah.
Mike Perry's on the card. So there's some good scraps on this. So it's going to be a fun one to be a part of.
Yeah. Jack, well, Katie Hunter, she's asking, she's saying Jack's hair is looking smart. Has he had the black market trim?
The fade police, is it? She's part of the fade police. I might have had a little black market trim. I can't reveal too many details because he might cut me off. But mind your business, Katie. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, you've got Peter Knox saying Jack is better than Lewis's hair. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a given at this point. I'm on the full-blown lockdown grow out. It's looking pretty shocking.
He's on the lockdown cut.
Frankie Anderson is saying he thought it was Austin Powers. Screw you, Frankie Anderson. But yeah, some big fights obviously on that card, as you said. Something I did want to touch on with you, Jack, was obviously the card that went this past weekend. We had obviously the Bantamweight title changing hands. Aljamain Sterling against Peter Yan. A crazy fight. I mean, Peter Yan seemed to be obviously Peter Yan was the champion. He lost by a disqualification. For people who don't know, I don't know if it would be anyone who didn't know at this point because it was such big news in the MMA community. But he lost by disqualification, a knee to the head, and obviously the belt changed hands to Aljamain Sterling there. What was your thoughts on that whole situation, Jack? I mean, kind of weird, but what was your take on it?
Yeah, it was a weird one, like you said. I don't think a title have ever changed hands through a DQ before. But look, people are sort of saying about Aljamain. I don't know if they were saying about him acting or milking it or whatever. But we are sort of not him at the end of the day. Whether he was putting it on a little bit or not, I don't know. But the reality is, he did that knee did land. It was flush. And if he said he was concussed, he probably was concussed. Like he doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to look for an easy way out. He's been brutally honest after the fight in saying the tide was starting to turn for Jan. So it's not like he was claiming that he was winning anyway. And it's one of them. But again, Peter Yan shouldn't need him when he was down. Like rules are rules. And I do disagree with the rule that the fighter should be on the fighter. We're different breed as fighters, and sometimes I can be one of them as well. We're too tough for our own good sometimes in the gym in the fight. So, in my opinion, it should be on the referee. If the referee and the doctor look at you and think you can't continue, then they shouldn't be putting it on the fighter. Because not many fighters are ever going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm too hurt, I can't continue." The reality of it is, whether we like it or not, Aljamain also is probably made an extra 150, 200 grand win bonus. He's going to go into the next fight now on more sponsorship money because he's the champion, on a bigger purse again, and get a pay-per-view point. So, I'm not saying he planned it like this. Obviously, he didn't plan to win like this. But you look at it on the bigger picture. Is it really his fault? It's a tough situation because I don't feel like he deserves a belt because he won it by a DQ. But then if you bring in the rule that you can't win a belt by DQ, any champion who's losing 4 rounds could get themselves disqualified in the 5th to keep their belt. So it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. Like I can see both sides of the story, but at the end of the day, if Jan hadn't sort of need him illegally, then he would more than likely be champion today, wouldn't he?
Definitely. And I think, do you know what as well? This is another contrast from yourself, who's a fighter, to me, who's not a fighter. I can say 100%. I think what Aljo did was the right thing because. You know what? He got kneed to the head. If he'd had his feet up off the ground and Peter Yan had thrown that same knee, it would have been a fight finishing knee, and the ref would have waved it off. But because it was an illegal knee, they come in and ask him to do it.
Yeah, it was completely illegal. Look, it was completely illegal. Like you said, if he had been stood up and took the knee, the ref would have jumped in there and then. But it was completely illegal. There was no was he grounded? Was he not? He was 100% grounded. So you can't knock Aljo really. Don't be wrong. He'll know deep down whether he was seriously hurt or whether he could have continued. But that's something he's got to sort of live with in his own mind. So who am I to say that he was faking it? Because the chances are, when you get hit with a shot like that, you probably is a little bit of concussion lingering.
Yeah. No, it was a big knee, but a new champion anyway. And obviously we're going to see these guys run it back. We've got UMMA Scotland saying. Pretty straightforward question. When you getting the title shot, Jack?
Well, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. A couple of wins. Hopefully, we have a good year this year. Turn 3 nice quick wins over. Should put me in a spot then to start maybe, making a bit of an assault on the top 10. Then the beginning of next year. I like to think with 3 wins, I should be ranked by the end of the year. In an ideal world. So if I can string that together, who knows? Maybe the end of next year or the year after, I won't be a million miles off. But, I got to remind people, I'm on 2-0, as good as my record, I'm 2-0 in the UFC.
Yeah.
There's not many, you get the exception. But look at guys like Khabib and all that. How many fights he had to win before he actually got his title shot, despite being undefeated. So, some guys do get it quicker than others. If that's me, great. But if not, I'm prepared to knuckle down and grind away for the next couple of years until they think I'm worthy of challenging for it. But every fight at this stage is a tough fight. For the next sort of however many years I fight for, every single fight is going to be a tough fight. So it's a matter of not looking past the guy who's in front of me at the minute. And once this fight's over, it'll be the same attitude when I get booked against someone else. I can't afford to look past anyone at the minute because the division is just so deep.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That like I know every UFC division is strong, but the bantamweights, I think it's the same in every promotion. Really, the bantamweight is a really highly contested division, and you only got to name the people in that division who's not the champion at the minute. And there's just so many good fighters. I mean, like I said, it's exciting for us specifically as Welsh fans and UK fans to see, who's Jack going to be matched up with next, which one of these big names. Like you said, you've got Hunter Azure now, but a win there, and you can be fighting the big name pretty quick. So it's great. And obviously, Brett's gone over to Bellator now as well. So kind of having you in that position, it really is great for us as fans. And, for yourself as well, I would imagine I know you're a very big MMA fan and a big UFC fan as well as an athlete yourself.
Yeah, that's it. There's like you said, there's guys now that are in the division that that there wasn't too long ago when I was watching them as fans. Your Frankie Edgars, your Dominic Cruz's, Cody, people like that. I remember watching them as sort of a newly turned pro before he was even fighting at bantamweight, thinking, I'm big fans of these guys. So to be in the same division now, and it's not a million miles away in the sense of that, I could be fighting any one of these guys in the next sort of 2 years. So it's definitely exciting times for me as a fan of the sport, obviously, as well as being an athlete in it as well.
What's it been like for you sort of preparing in the bubble as well, Jack? I know, like I tried to come down again, interview you face to face, and Shaky shut that one down pretty quick with the COVID restrictions. What's it been like, sort of working within these bubbles, and how well you guys all been doing as a team?
Yeah, to be honest, Lou, I do miss the buzz of the gym. Where there's 60 of us on the mat, and because it's a big social aspect on the gym as well. You've been down there yourself. We're all friends. We're all one big team, and we all like a good laugh, and we all like to train out together. But one of the real positives about sort of doing this camp and in a bubble, and in a sense, so there's like five training partners I've got, is that everything is sort of specific to the guy who's fighting. So if it's my turn to do my fight rounds on this day, then the guys sparring me are going to base their style around the guy I'm fighting. So it's very specific, and it's a good thing in hindsight, but some days I could do with a break from it. It's the fact there's no easy rounds now. There's no white belts or blue belts for me to go and grip hold of on the slide when my old man in looking for a nice quiet round. There's when you're sparring with Brett, Scotty, and Josh, there's not an easy round between them. So every single round is a tough one at the minute. But it's just bringing us on sort of leaps and bounds. But I will also be happy when they say to us, we can open the gym back up and we can have everyone back through the doors. So as good as this bubble is, I'll be all the more happier when that shutters up and them doors are open.
Yeah, no, I think we all will. And Peter's asking another question now, which kind of runs off the back of what we just said there about the guys you've got in the gym with you. A lot of those are going to be fighting on the Cage Warriors trilogy coming up this month on the 18th, I believe the first one is. What he's saying, what's your predictions for the Welsh fighters on the upcoming Cage Warriors show? Obviously, you've got Oban Elliott's going to be fighting, and Josh Reed as well from your camp. And obviously Ben Ellis is going to be fighting as well from over at the Matt Academy.
Don't forget Scotty Ped. Scotty Ped just been announced Scotty as well.
Pedersen. That's Scotty Pedersen's debut as well, professional, is it?
Yeah, Scotty's going pro. Obviously, I think on paper he is probably the most experienced amateur Wales has ever had, I think, as far as fights and sort of IMAF appearances and stuff like that go. So, yeah, Scotty's debuting. He's got a tough fight against a good Irish kid from... I think he's from Paul Lewis' gym. I'm sure that's the gym he's from. But Scotty's been grinding with us now for about a year, just over, since he joined our gym. And obviously, with the Fight Island camp, he was one of my main training partners. He was one of my main training partners for the last fight that got cancelled. Obviously, he's one of my main training partners for this camp. And then, so for him to be getting constant rounds in with me and Brett and Josh, it's just brought his level through the roof. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in there. And as tough as the opponent is he's fighting, he's bringing a different package to the game compared to what he brought. The last time we seen him, I think it might have been, it's nearly 2 years, I'm sure it is, since he last fought.
Ebervale, was it? Cage Wars in Ebervale?
Yeah, or it might have even been the Europeans, the IMAF. I'm not sure 100%. It was a long time ago, so I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there. So predict the Scotty P win, of obviously, wherever he's hitting like a truck at the minute. The coaches at the gym have got him sitting down on his shots. He's always been a good striker, but he was a little bit sort of happy to score points rather than look to do damage. And I've been on the end of a couple of his shots the last few weeks, trust me, and that's with bigger gloves on. So if he cracks you with the 4 ounce, you're gonna know all about it. Josh is fighting. Obviously, Josh is fighting. Brian Creighton. So he was very unlucky in his last fight. Josh is the best I've seen him perform for a long time, despite picking up the loss. So I'm looking forward to seeing him sort of carry a similar performance in, but obviously come up with a win this time.
Yeah.
Creighton's obviously tough, but I think size and power wise, Josh I'll have too much for him. Then Oban obviously is fighting. Just be glad to see him back in there up at welterweight now, isn't he? So he hasn't got that big weight cut to deal with. So it'd be nice to see him go a little bit more of his natural weight. And
glad to see him going back up to welterweight.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, look, I think he can be competitive at lightweight or welterweight, but obviously, he does have a big cut to lightweight, and he just seems like more happy in himself. He seems to be performing better in the gym now. He's not having to constantly worry about his diet. You know, don't get me wrong, he's not eating. He's eating clean and stuff like that, and still training now. But I think you're going to see a better performance out of him this time. More natural. I think he won't have to cut. Or you have to cut, very little weight to make the 170 limit. And he's deceivingly big, Oban. Like people, I think people probably don't appreciate how big he is.
Yeah, he's tall, isn't he, as well?
When he fills out, he'll be more than capable at competing at welterweight and taking on the bigger names in that division. And look, he knows himself after his last performance that wasn't a true representation of himself. So he's going out there now. He's got a lot to prove, and I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong that were doubting him after the last fight, and a lot of people like myself and the boys at the gym who've been bigging him up for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
This will be the performance where people will watch him and say, look, he is as good as they were saying. That last fight, it was just, that just wasn't a true representation of him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Oban back in there as well. And he's just so well-rounded. I mean, if he wants to stand and trade, he can do that. If he wants to take you down and grind you out, Carl Parker's got him, and got his wrestling at the top scratch, and my old man has got his grappling at the top scratch. He's not just a striker now like he was in the amateur days. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there and getting back in the on the winning side of things as well. And Ben Ellis as well. I've done a little bit of sparring with Ben for this one, just boxing sparring down Gary Lockett's. Ben trains with Gary now. So me and Ben have been fortunate enough to do a bit of sparring with the pros down there. Obviously, because we get to train in like a pro bubble, and Ben's just Ben. He's on a bit of a tear at the minute, and I'm sure he'll come out and carry on, the way he is. Who's he fighting, Ben? I can't remember the kid's name. He did tell me.
Manny Akbar. I think he's 2-0. I think he's SPG Manchester.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, fighting a good kid. I don't know the kid. I know he's got a good amateur record and stuff like that. So hopefully it's a nice setup, and a win you're probably set. Well, I'll make Ben 4-0 then. So I'll set him up for for a big name next. Then hopefully that can put him in the mix of either the title or sort of move him in that right direction. We can start asking for a shot of that. So it's four good Welsh level fighters there, and fingers crossed we can steal the show a little bit as a nation. That there's a lot of eyes on the trilogy cards, and I'm very confident all the boys will come away with the wins.
Yeah, definitely. And Jack, something you touched on there, and it's something that I've noticed sort of watching the sport in Wales over the last couple of years. Would you say the gyms that the top fighters in each gym were coming together more now? And you get like you'll spar with Ben Ellis, and I see like Mason Jones sparring with people from the mat, or from Brett Johnson's old gym down with Chris Reese. I mean, is this something that you kind of feel like the top guys in each gym are kind of coming together now for better sparring, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see it creep in a little bit more. Obviously, everyone has still got their own gyms, but the level now in Wales, you don't really need to travel to train, in my opinion. Like you said, we all make good use of each other. Like Lou's been up to spar a little bit. I used to go down with Brett before he obviously joined the gym. Mason's at the mat doing a little bit. I've done bits with Ben. Like Scotty and Brett and all them. I've trained with them many times before they even joined the gym. So it's good to see now. Like I've always sort of, I might have even been an interview with you. I said after one of my fights that I don't like to see the Welsh boys fight each other. I don't feel like we need to fight each other. You know, there's a big enough sort of, the divisions are big enough, whether it's domestically, like European level or world level, the divisions are big enough where for such a small country, you know, and in hindsight, all the gyms are within an hour of each other, so we shouldn't have to fight each other really. If it's for a world title or whatever, maybe, but I think for the most part, especially the coming years now, you'll see the Welsh boys sort of stick together a little bit. I think I get like the vibe of when anyone fights now, it's more of like a Team Wales rather than
that's what I was getting at.
Rather
like
than you don't sort of just root for your teammates as such. You know, don't be wrong, you got that closer bond with your teammates.
Yeah,
it goes without saying. But obviously, when a Welsh boy is fighting, you just naturally want them to do well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was getting at. Like, I think that is a really big thing now, like the Team Wales sort of vibe, and yeah, I think it's good to see. So yeah.
Like don't be wrong. When I say the Welsh boys shouldn't fight, like I'm not talking about 1-0 amateurs and 2-0 amateurs. You know, if these guys have got a fight, or if they got a fight for a spot to be in the Welsh squad for the IMAF tournament, I know they're going to go down that route. It's going up, like I can completely get that. You know, I completely get it. You should have to fight for your spot in the team, or if you got a 1-0 guy from my gym, I got to fight a 1-0 guy from the Matt Academy, then I get it. But as far as the pros go, and you know the top level boys, I don't see why they need to fight each other. I think there's plenty of other opponents out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. On Top Promotions are asking, will Brett Johns become Bellator champion this year? Brett, obviously you've trained with him quite closely now. He's gone from UFC on a 2-fight win streak. He looks in great form over in the UFC and going into a Bellator division. I think he can do some real damage in. What's your thoughts on Brett at the moment? And can he get that Bellator belt, do you think?
100%. Even if he doesn't get it this year, he'll definitely get it next year. I mean, I look at the bantamweight division in Bellator, and there's about 4 or 5, you know, good names at the top of it. You know, your Archuletas, Patchy Mix. There's a couple of Russian guys there at the top end now that are elite level guys. But Brett has got the style in the game that he's capable of beating all of them, and I think he will beat all of them, to be honest. And look, people sort of got this impression of him as he's just grind out, take you down and grind you out. But he's got it all. He can strike, he can kickbox, he can box, he can wrestle, he can sub you. So without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, if it's not this year, it'll be next year that you'll see him, you know, fight for that belt and bring it back to the gym, and we can get up on the Wall of Fame. It'd be nice to have a Bellator one up there.
Yeah, definitely. I got a good question here coming from Shay Thundercliff, and he's asking, are you looking forward to wearing the Venom UFC gear? I don't know if I think the Venom deal is coming in soon, so I don't know if you'll catch that this side for this fight, or
I think we are the first card that's going to have the Venom stuff. I've seen Dana White doing it. I haven't had no official word, but I've seen Dana White doing an interview. He says April the 10th. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer than the Reebok stuff. The Reebok stuff goes through the wash once, and that's the end of it. That's why I keep chucking it in these frames. But it does look good. I've seen a little preview of it online, so it'll be nice to switch it up a little bit. And I used to love the Venom kit when I was a kid, so it'll be nice to rep some of that as well. Yeah,
it's kind of the old school stuff, so it'd definitely be cool to see what they can come out with and see if it is nicer than the Reebok kit, because They did get some good designs out towards the end, my Reebok. I didn't buy any of it myself, so I don't know what, like you said, it goes through the wash bad, but it'd be good to see it.
To be fair, the like the tracksuits and the t-shirts and the trainer stuff like that they wear, it is good quality stuff, you know. Reebok's a good brand. Like the fight shorts and that, you know, they don't always last, but they're not designed to last, really. They're for fight night, and that's it. And it did get a lot of slack, a lot of stick, Reebok did when it first came about. But I've always liked the look of the kit and like the uniform. It reminds me like a football team, or you know, like a basketball team. You sort of wear your country's colours with your name and stuff on it. So I quite liked it. Don't be wrong, it'd be nice if we could make a bit more money on sponsorship. But you know, as far as kit goes, it's not a bad kit to wear.
Yeah, fair play. Good question. Good question there, Shay. Something I want to ask you, Jack, because I obviously follow you on social media and everything, follow your fighting, follow your training. But one thing that I've started following recently is your YouTube. Your YouTube career. I've seen a couple of videos now. You training, one of you and Shake's obviously doing the hot chip challenge. How did this come about?
So basically, like I've always sort of toyed with the idea. I thought about doing it before my last fight and just never got around to it. Mason started his, and me and him chatted, and he sort of gave me the rundown on what had to be done. I just could never be bothered with it, to be honest, Lou. And then my sister was at my house with my girlfriend, and they were watching something on YouTube, and they just spoke like, "Oh, you should start a YouTube channel. I reckon people will watch that." So I said, "I don't know. I wouldn't fucking know where to start with it all." So my sister's pretty clued up on the editing and stuff. She does a lot of it for work. She's like, "I'll do it. So you just film it, and I'll do it." So we got the ball rolling. But yeah, it's going all right so far. People seem to be sort of keen on the videos, and I know people like to see the behind the scenes stuff, obviously, and they want to. People always want to see more of what you're doing, and obviously you can't always get that in on Instagram or Twitter. So it's nice to give them a little bit of a behind the scenes look and have a bit of a laugh at it as well. Obviously, I don't know if you haven't seen my old man do the hot chip challenge yet, you're best off going to watch it and judging it for yourself. But yeah, never know. Could be the next Jake Paul now in 10 years. Could be me calling out these boxers for $10 million a fight.
I was going to say, it could be worse things because they do make some serious money.
They do.
I'm speaking for sort of obviously with my day job. I work for Wales Online, and one of the people I'm speaking to next week is a guy who sold his Pokemon collection to Logan Paul for £350,000. So, I mean, it's not bad money if you can get it for buying a box of Pokemon.
Well, I mean, I seen Jake Paul. I know it was this a couple of months back. Going back, he offered Conor McGregor, was it 50 million or something like that to fight? And like whether he was bullshitting or not, I don't know. But he seemed serious about it, and like they got money. Like they're money making machines. They wouldn't be doing it if they were making a massive. He's not gonna jump in and have a boxing fight when he could make the same money, being sat in front of his computer or sat in front of his Xbox. So, they're making serious cash. So, if I can make a little bit of that money, Lou, I'd be happy.
Yeah, and you got Morgan Charrier as well, obviously in Cage Warriors. He's kind of like a leading light, really, as a guy he's French. He's making a lot of money and a lot of viewers in YouTube, and he's fighting really good as well. So I think it can be done that you'd be successful in both areas, and yeah, I think it's a good idea for you.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed it'll pay off anyway. Obviously, to be honest, I ain't doing a lot at the minute. It's just me. I'm just filming. I'm just walking around with a GoPro. It's my sister who's doing all the real hard work. She's doing the editing and sourcing out intros and music and stuff like that. So to be fair, I can't. Although it's me in the videos, I've got to give her all the credit because she's coming up with the ideas. She's coming up with the top-notch editing skills. So if I do it the big payday, I'll be sure to give her a nice little cut of it. Yeah,
I was gonna say, give it when Jake Paul calls you up, give her a big slice of it.
Yeah, she can have 10%.
Yeah, I've got Shay is asking another question. He's saying, is Jack Marshman and John Phillips still in the UFC? John, I know John's not still in there, but I think Jack's still signed, isn't he?
Unfortunately, I think Marshman has come out and said I think he's been cut back a couple of weeks ago. He's got a good job now working security, but obviously I think he is looking to fight this year. I spoke to Jack a couple of weeks ago, and he wants to just get straight back on the horse. I don't know where yet, obviously, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of promotions looking to snap him up as being someone who always brings the fight, and he has a good following as well. So especially when the fans are back involved, it'll be nice to see him back in there as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of options for him either way. I think obviously you've got Bellator's having a big presence in Europe now,
and John as well. I mean, I look forward to seeing John back in there. I don't know. I assume don't maybe he'll go to Bellator because of the connections with SPG, or I've seen a couple of people online talking about Bare Knuckle. I know Dan Lurwell, who he's good friends with, is in the Bare Knuckle scene. So it'd be good to see John back competing as well. I know he's just had a kid, so I've seen on Instagram he's shifting the dad ball at the minute. But if he can get that shifted and get back in the mix, it'll be good to see as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's a lot to look forward to. I know obviously they're both outside the UFC now, but there's still a lot of stuff for them to do. So I don't think that's necessarily a negative thing for either of those guys.
Of course not. I mean, look at people like Anthony Smith. I think Anthony Smith was in the UFC.
Yeah,
he got cut, and then next thing you know, a couple of years later, he's fighting for the UFC title. So it's not the be all and end all. I'm sure they whether they get back to the UFC or whether they go to different promotions or different sports, even they'll still be pulling in plenty of viewers, and I'll definitely be watching them anyway, because
Yeah.
them pair are always in the scrap wherever they fight.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Jack, obviously, come back to you now. Obviously, I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's past your bedtime now. Yeah,
We're
you're
knocking
getting
on.
your head early these days in camp. But what's your last word on this fight? You know, people in Wales now, they all want to see you fight. They all want to sort of hear what you've got to say about your fights. How do you see this one going? And for people who don't know much about you, what can they expect from a Jack Shaw performance?
They can expect sort of, like what I always bring. Expect me to bring the fight. Now I'm not gonna sit there and sort of look for a boring fight. I've been out of the cage a long time. Like I said to you, in this division, it's stacked. So you got to do something that's going to make you stand out and make people remember your name. Especially with Darren Till fighting the main event, there'll be a lot of eyes on the card, but also there'll be a lot of people only looking forward to his fight. So if I can make them remember my name as well as is at the end of the night, I'll be happy. So just an exciting fight. I'm coming out to put him away, whether that be early on or I got to drag him deep and put him away there. But I'm coming for the finish like I always do, and I'm just coming to sort of stamp my name and let everyone know that I haven't gone away. It's just I had a bit of a slow year last year, but this year's going to be different. I'm going to be in there a lot more, and people are going to see a lot more of me.
Yeah, and unprecedented times as well. We put it down for that. Jack, I want to fire one more question at you. It's from Terry Blackwell. He's asked a couple. I haven't read them out, so I'll give him one. He said, I know you're not one for calling people out, but if you had a free reign to fight any bantamweight within the UFC, who would it be and why?
Who would it be? Let me think about that one, because there's a couple of people I'd like to fight. If I could only pick one, it would probably be... I always used to say Frankie Edgar, but the more I think about it, like I'm a massive Frankie Edgar fanboy. So the more I think about it, the more I sort of think, I don't know if I would have to fight him if they asked me to, but I don't think I would want to fight him because I'm just such a big fan of the guy. Someone who I have been eyeing up and I do really am impressed with him is he trains with Aljo. What's his name? Marab. I don't want to butcher his second.
Yeah, I know you, man. I can't.
The Georgian guy,
Yeah.
I look at him. I think he's got the takedown record in one fight in the bantamweight division, and he's a problem for a lot of guys in that division with his wrestling. He reminds me like a mini Khabib. So I'd like to sort of test my wrestling skills against him at some point in the next couple of years. And I know he's ranked 10th, something like that, and he's looking at sort of climbing the ranks. So I'll be happy to hopefully get a fight like that. I mean, Khabib's cousin's knocking about as well, and
that'll be a great matchup.
I've been called the Welsh Khabib a couple of times, so maybe we can put it to the test there one day. I know we're both prospects technically at the minute, so maybe we won't get a fight just yet this early on. But fingers crossed, in a few years that one could happen as well. You never know.
Yeah, some great guys coming out of Dagestan at the minute.
Savage.
Unbelievable guys. And just last one, Peter Knox is saying he's watching to watch Jack Shaw, not Darren Till. That's Peter Knox. Big fan, if you haven't noticed.
Big fan. Peter been a big fan for years. So even though it was only you, Lou, that used to pick me to win the fights back on the cage, I never forget that. So they're not getting off that easy. I know you always have my back though.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone you want to shout out for this one, Jack? I know you've got a big team behind you, big sponsors, or is it the case now they know who they are?
Yeah, just my teammates, the guys in the bubble with me, Scotty, Brett, Josh, couple of others there as well. Obviously my coaches, Carl, my old man, Gary Lockett, him, Greg Carlo, my girlfriend, my mom, my sister, my family, all those lot, and obviously all my sponsors as well. I'll forget one of them if I shout them all out individually, and someone will be angry at me. So if you go on my social media, they're plastered all over there constantly. So give them a bit of love and support as well.
Brilliant. Well, Jack, as always, thank you for joining us, buddy. Wish you all the best for the next fight. Then we'll have you back on for the post-fight interview. I'm sure, and I'm sure it's going to be a successful one as well. So thank you again for your time, buddy.
No problem, Lil. Thanks for having me back. See you soon.
Cheers, Jack.